And I'm Leo. Welcome to 30 Days of Yoga.
Yes, and we're going to start our practice today in Adho Virasana, so be on your mat on ground level. Okay, so as you can see, Leo sitting back on her heels in this position, lifting through the front body and extending forward. So when you extend forward, you have to see, it's almost as if you're lifting over a cushion. I'm going to move out of Leo's way, otherwise she's going to push me off the mat. So be in this position and just take a few breaths at the beginning of your practice, just being aware of your senses, being aware of the length through the body, quietening the mind, soft inhalation, soft exhalation. From this pose, we're coming for Adho Svanasana, so dog head down. So I'm going to stand up so you can still see me. Alright, so be in this position. Just wait for a moment, lift through the abdomen, lift through the front body. Tuck your toes under, as you can see here, and see that the middle finger is facing forward. Plant down into those palms and lift up, lift through the body, lift the buttocks up. Adho Svanasana, dog head down. So with this pose, as we've already practiced this several times, it's all about the extension up through the spine. So be sure that those palms are planting down and you're earthing them to the floor side. From there, the legs take over. The legs have got to push back so strongly. Be sure that you're lifting the abdomen throughout. Look forward. We come for Uttanasana. Bend your knees and jump those legs. So again, if this is your first day of joining us, then do have a look at our previous videos, particularly for complete beginners, because this is where you'll get lots of tips with the prop work. So see that your fingers are either onto a couple of yoga bricks if you have them, or you can put them on your shins if you've got no equipment, and just keep that action going forward through the front body. Otherwise, if you can take your hands down to the floor, either spider your fingers or flatten your palms. But be sure that this extension through the spine is happening. Leo's just going to show you how the spine can look if you're really stiff. You see, you don't want to have this action. This isn't creating a good message to the body. You have to see that the legs are nice and straight and the spine elongates. Very difficult if the hamstrings are strong, but tight and over strong. So extending through the front body. And now we're coming out of the pose, coming up, lifting through the abdomen and standing up. So take a few breaths, soft inhalation, exhalation. We're going to come into the center of the mat now for Trikonsana. So those of you who've been joining us for the previous days, you'll be familiar with this pose now. So take your fingers to your chest and jump. Good. You see how quickly that jump came. So you've got to be light in your jumping. Turning your back foot in, your left foot in, your right foot out. And again, we have to repeat some of these instructions because sometimes we pick up different things at different times. So see that you're lifting through the front body, reaching through the fingers, pushing and grounding into your back foot bone, lifting up out of the pelvis, pulling up the front leg. Very strong in the legs, hinge over laterally towards your right leg. So it may be that you don't go as far as Leo here, you're coming up to here. This is absolutely fine. You can see that the pelvis is extending in such a way that the outer hip is moving in and the top hip is lifting up. So just make sure you're getting those actions. If you're able to go a little bit further, then do so. Lifting your sternum chest, soft inhalation, exhalation, taking a breath in and coming up. Turning the feet to face forward, turning your right foot in, your left foot out. And again, keeping the weight into the back body, into your left side. So the left side of the chest moves to the left side. Be mindful of that. Extend over into your Trikonsana action. Extending up through the top arm. Just being there for a few moments, taking a few breaths, being aware of some of those adjustments which you were practicing on the first side, outer hip in, top hip lifting. So there's a broadness across the abdomen. Keep that action and steadiness in your back leg, your back foot bone, very important. And then taking a breath in and come up, turning the feet to face forward and bringing the legs together. So we come for Ardha Chandrasana, which is a balancing action. So you may need to have a brick for this action or some height. You can use some boards. Now we're going to come into this from Trikonsana, so you'll be familiar with the previous pose, but we're adding to it. So just take a look if you're not quite sure. Jump those legs wide. Good. Turning the feet for Trikonsana. So you'll know this pose now. Hinge over into Trikonsana, be in that action. Now this is where it changes. The top hand goes onto the pelvis. So this is our first balancing action. Bend your front leg. Now if you're able to take your hand down to the floor, then do so. It's got to go just to the outer side. Yeah, there. That's it. So be in this position. Now, you're going to step the back foot in and this lower arm forward. Okay, just be there. Now what's really important is the weight goes forward. You come onto the very tippy toe. Yeah. So all of the weight is going forward. And then you see that this back leg becomes light and you lift it up. You go on lifting up. It's a very challenging action to do. If you're really wobbly, then go and take your back to a wall. That's a really nice way of working. You see Leo's pushing her arm here. If you're able to extend that top arm up, good. Soft inhalation, exhalation. You can also take the hand to the floor if you're able to, if you can keep your balance. This will keep the alignment of the pose. So, though, remember that outer hip moving in, that top hip lifting up, and then a big, big step back to come back into your Trikonsana. Try not to fall out of the pose. So easy to, but have a little bit of control in that action. Coming into the Trikonsana and coming up out of the action. Turning the feet to face forward. And then if you're using a support, you take it to the other side of the mat. Trikonsana again, turning the feet and lifting up through the chest. Soft inhalation, exhalation. And then coming to your Trikonsana. Okay, now this hand goes onto your hip, bending your front leg. And then reaching forward with the hands and stepping in with the back leg. That's it. Now the weight's got to go so far over until there's more weight on the front side. So this back leg becomes really light on the tippy toe. And then extending up, keeping that action, being in that position. Go and see that outer hip moves in, this top hip lifts up. If you're able to, then you can extend your arm up. Maybe that's a step too far at this stage. And again, remember, if you're too wobbly, don't give up. You can put your hand onto a chair, you can take your back to the wall. We go through these actions in the complete beginner classes, so do take a look at those. Now, nice and controlled action, coming out of the pose, bending the front leg and coming into your Trikonsana. Good. And coming for your Trikonsana, it will feel slightly differently now after the Adho Chandrasana action. It's a really nice little sequence. Trikonsana, Ardha Chandrasana, Trikonsana. So do practice those poses, taking a breath in and coming up, turning the feet to face forward and bringing the legs together. And standing there just for a few moments, just absorbing some of the work, digesting into the body, some of the openings, and also, of course, the breath. So remembering that these poses bring attention to the mind, body, and breath. Just be there for a few moments, broadening across your upper body, letting the arms completely release down. Soft inhalation, exhalation. We're coming next to some of the floor work, and we're going to be sitting in Virasana. So, when you sit in Virasana, you can see Leo's got a brick here. sure there's space in the back of the knee. This is one of the really important things you can see with Leo. She's showing you how to get that space. Yeah, and sitting back. And you may need to go a little bit higher if this is too difficult on the ankles. We find a lot in the classes that the ankles are very tight. And it's very challenging, this action. So there's lots of modifications we can make in these poses, and again, do refer to some of the beginning classes. So you've got to see that also if it's too much on the ankles, too much on the knees, you go higher. So if you do have a couple of books or yoga blocks, then they're also very good to sit on. So be in this position. Roll your shoulders back and down. You can see that Leo's got her fingers facing towards the toes, and just be there and breathe. It's a really nice position to sit in. Very calming, very opening, very cooling.
If, of course, you've got tightness in your quadriceps, if you're quite a sporty person, this won't feel very calm at all. You'll feel quite challenged by this. So just lift yourself up higher. Over time, the muscles, the large muscles, the fibres start to release, and you'll be able to sit a little bit lower. Don't strain the knees or the ankles in these poses at first. I think it's important to stress that.
Yes, definitely. A lot of people do try to sit between their heels, but there's a lot of work to be done before that action. So we're going to come into the upper body work now, into Garudasana arm work. So this can be a little bit complicated, so do have a look at the screen so you can see Leo's action.
So I'm taking my arms up, and I'm just going to take the right arm over the top of the left. So it's a crossing action, and it's quite helpful to hold onto your shoulder blades like that.
Yes, and actually I will say that some people, this is, for this stage, this is where you're at, and to go any further can be quite challenging because of the tightness in the chest. So don't worry if this is where you're at, you can stay at this stage, but obviously with a view to improve it over time. You can see here now that Leo's coming to take the palms towards one another.
So you push your arms against one another to get this opening in the chest. It's quite a strong action on the front of the body. So you push, 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 and then if you can wrap your hands like that. If this comes very easily, then don't just sit in it. Lift your elbows, move your thumbs away from your face.
Yes, so you do need to be challenged by this action. I certainly am challenged by this pose, particularly if you have stiffness in the shoulders. It's a great pose if you've been sitting in front of the computer all day, and it opens a very deep shoulder blade extension. And once you've got it, you can stay in for as long as you like. You can repeat it 2 or 3 times, but we're coming to the other side now.
So this time, you lift the elbows. You take the left arm over the top of the right, hug your shoulders, and again push.
Yeah, that connection is so key. You connect with those inner arms. And then bring the palms together. You can see from Leo she does this really nicely. She's got lovely long arms, which helps as well. Those short ones like mine are a little bit more challenging.
We all have poses that come more easily than others. And I can assure you there's plenty that come with greater difficulty for me.
Yes, so when you're in this position again, lift those elbows. It may be that you're just sort of clasping at the thumbs, depending on where you are in the shoulders. So soft inhalation and exhalation in the practicing. And then slowly releasing. Well done. And straighten your legs. You may find that the blood's completely gone out of the legs now, and when you straighten them, it's quite often that people can get pins and needles at this stage. But once you practice on a regular basis, you'll be whipping in and out of these poses, no problem. and this is the end of the sequencing now. So come and join us in Sukhasana action, and if you've enjoyed this video, then please do like our video or subscribe to our channel.
Or even both.
Or even both. And also if you'd like more options and structured courses where we have 2 different ways of working with props and without props, please do go to myyogatutor.com.
Thank you for joining us today, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. Namaste.
Namaste.